Welcome everyone to another amazing live stream. Today was another day in the Apple reality distortion field and they announced some stuff, and I actually wanted to work, but thought maybe we leave it running, comment it a little bit, and I made the YouTube gods angry. First time ever that this happened. I had this on the other live channel and that got automatic copyright flagged here. Your video has been blocked globally. So yeah, the more we stream, the more we learn. It's a little bit sad that this now revoked the live streaming privileges from the second channel. That is really annoying. Apparently now for 90 days. That is really, come on, for 8 views, for 4 minutes of, it's not even a Hollywood blockbuster. Fun fact, I replied to the no reply email there in Gmail. It's like, hey, okay, folks don't really quite agree that it's a little bit fair use, but whatever. I understood, I will not do it again. Maybe you can make this faster than 90 days. But obviously I got a reply. You can't write to no reply at, because yeah, so not really sure. Maybe that means no amazing more live streams on the second channel for 90 days. That is really, yeah. Well, also I find it interesting, we can actually use this as a data point. How good is AI, or AKA also known as pattern matching? Because if you probably can't watch it, but at least a couple of 8 people watch this, like including Dave or someone, and the quality wasn't that high, right? So sometimes, this you see here from the screenshot, my desktop, my picture and audio was intentionally with a little bit of echo, or naturally also anyway with the microphone here. But I'm actually surprised they matched this, so they probably have this kind of live streams. They are classified automatically of Apple's automated content ID matching stuff. So yeah, that is a little bit, didn't know that. The more we do here, the more we learn. Anyway, so I'm really impressed that they actually matched that apparently automatically. So this is, but even so, this is saying visual content, right? I mean, in a way, it is really amazing. YouTube needs so long. If I upload in 4K, it needs so long to process 4K content. And well, certainly very huge YouTubers often complain about this. Yet they can in real time visual classify this with not only the picture-in-picture overlay here, but also some garbage there, and yeah, and a browser. And this is actually, if this really is automated, you never know how many people they have their human resources. Wait, you have received smooth streaming. What? Don't tell me my second channel can be 800 frames. Not cool. Anyway, it probably shouldn't show this so long, not that this automated match it again. Anyway, let's maybe quickly go through this. So they got free croissants and some yogurt or something to increase the mood there. And to start the day, nice stuff there. And probably Bosniak, huh? Anyway, yeah. And yes, this is how it looks there. We certainly have not been there. And I have to say, I already had the impression when I thought I leave this running as live stream. You never know how popular this is. Sometimes I make some not what I consider like not primary AAA content, and it runs much better than I think. For example, upgrading the Mac Pro with an NVMe that I just wanted to test shortly and didn't even use there. So other fun stuff, like also the Sony Vario P for some reason, which also encouraged me to actually take a look at this Intel Pulse stuff. So you never know, maybe it would have been super popular, but yeah, no, I know better not live restream other people's live streams. Upset the YouTube gods. Anyway. Yeah, as usual, it started super boring, right? In my opinion, one of the most boring events. Stream keeps stopping, really. We have another stop, indeed. Pity, really, actually. Sorry to that. Let's lower the output to, not the most high though, but okay, let's use one a bit less. And just wondering, options Wayland, do you use it? I try to use Wayland, although this is not content of this stream, but as usual, ask me anything. We need to try to build an audience here to finance all the research and stuff. And I tried to use Wayland, didn't really work much for me because all the amazing innovation stuff, it wanted some other protocol packages and whatnot, and XML here and there. And you had me already at whatever XDG runtime or whatever. So I packaged it in T2, update it sometimes. I have not used it to try to use it a couple of months. Anyway, quick summary of the Apple event. I mean, the fun fact, right? So my video got blocked there for not only reposting advertisement, maybe with a little bit negative commentary, but whatever. But you would think that they are happy about each advertisement here, but then maybe not. It started as usual, the usual, everything is amazing, we are the best, we have the best products, enrich everyone and best whatever, life whatsoever. Then they went here with Apple Arcade. And I sat in this live stream until it was turned down. Yeah, no problem for being off topic. 133 drop frames. That Apple Arcade, I said in the live stream before it was killed off, super boring, right? Normally you would think a company starts with this are our most amazing products, yet they start with the most boring stuff, in my opinion. Well, maybe nobody would have listened to Arcade garbage at the end. But anyway, I would, first of all, the people sit there already anyway. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's optimizing signal to noise ratio, but I find it anyway disappointing that they don't start. This is our flagship stuff. So they started with this, our arcade garbage stuff that nobody really asked for and is a process fighting there to the bottom with $4.99 or whatever is that, even, or $8.99 or something. And do they have the price here even? Something that probably should be here somewhere if we find it. Yeah, hardware, software, services. Yeah, services meaning enriching Apple on others people's products. New games every month. So what I really wonder is that this is, of course, only very little you can earn, right? Even if probably they don't get everyone into this arcade, or I don't know if they allow everyone, but even then you certainly only get something if your game is played, and then certainly only the topmost games get something. And if you have an indie game that few people play or whatsoever, then probably only get some cents. Yeah, also this game here, actually in the beginning this Frogger game looked quite neat, but then this baby things are a little, whatever. And yeah, I really wonder about this modern, for me, extremely disappointing, right? Here, just some stuff. Actually, then the second game looked, is this Arcade Family? $4.99 for family subscription, 150 countries, 100 games, launch catalog. Yeah, I mean, this is a price race to the bottom, in my opinion. Just what Apple and the App Store already produce there, and we have 1 month free trial, so you trial it, people don't get paid. I don't like this kind of race to the bottom, to be honest. Apple TV Plus, here are some TV shows, certainly. And you should also not forget, most of this stuff is US only. For the international audience, many of this stuff, Apple TV in Germany, mostly useless, at least until recently anyway. I'm not sure. Well, I don't know anyone who has an Apple TV in Germany. And certainly not me, except maybe hacking, but I don't have one. And yeah, where is Apple TV? Somewhere, whatever, was this already all Apple TV Plus? Is this all Snoop Space? Did I miss something? For some shows, including morning show, some trailers, something new drama, but so not even sure first shows available. If this is all Apple, so again, didn't even watch this. If they kill my live stream, then I had other stuff to do, so don't really know. But yeah, Apple Originals, I'm really not a fan of this Originals. This is somehow really reality distortion field, finance, marketing propaganda. This development is really strange in my opinion. In my opinion, we should have more independently produced stuff and not this big companies produce some content. And also they had this app show. What was it? I don't even, this was so unpopular. I think they had something like the App Apprentice something app show. I don't even know what garbage it was. And it was, of course, a total joke in my opinion. There's this app promotion startup stuff there. And yeah, but this is also this capitalism, right? They need to maximize profits and need to have their growth. And then if they can't sell more Macs and iPhones, although in my opinion, they would plenty be able to sell more Macs if they would make them more user-friendly, repairable, SSD memory swappable, normal ports and so on, and maybe even a polycarbonate option again with more colors or stuff, maybe even entry level, although I like polycarbonate because it doesn't give me electric shocks. So yeah, time to talk about the iPad. Yeah, but the problem is that Apple really has, in my opinion, is that this stuff looks like last year's and yesteryear, right? So it's new stuff and it looks the same. So doesn't even look new, right? And 6th generation iPad with the new 7th generation iPad and Retina screen, A10 Fusion chip, which is a few years. And here, wait a second, they even on Mac Rumors they write A10 Fusion chip, parenthesis, which is a few years old already on the fanboy side. So yeah, anyway, not well, certainly cheap entry level stuff, but somehow yeah, made from, that's also a fun fact, made from 100% recycled aluminum for the first time. So yeah, you buy recycled product for, well, but at least it starts affordable-ish. But again, Apple often says it's a computer. In my opinion, it's like some appliance, right? You cannot load your own software. And I made some videos already that in general with the Surface, touch disease, phantom touches, and trick digitizer, not amazing. And iPad also, I repaired my wife's iPad and it dropped only once, and actually the display wasn't broken, only the digitizer screen, I think. Anyway, the repair took forever, well over 1 hour, and it was not a nice, pleasant repair. It was, as usual with this, it is fully glued, right? And so iPad fully glued, I would not recommend this. And then again, they say it's a computer, but you can't load your software, right? If you say you are really disappointed by iOS, iPadOS, or even in a couple of years when you don't get updates, you will like not easily, if ever, get Linux on there, right? And this is why I really think we should probably vote with the wallet and not really buy into this. What's your opinion on privacy with regards Android versus iPhone? Well, I'm personally not in privacy, so questions from the audience, which are of course amazing. I personally am not in piracy, although I unlocked my very first iPhone because I purchased it in the United States when I was there on business, and it wasn't yet available in Germany. That was 10 years ago, a decade ago, and I had to unlock it because it was netlocked to AT&T. And yeah, I unlocked this, but I never was in piracy, and probably people are also on other platforms. But for example, people who really want this because it's usable, because it's some serious business app or whatever, or a good game, many people buy it anyway. There are even studies, even those people who pirate videos, Hollywood movies, are often those who purchase the most real, well, physical good or licensed digital media stuff. So my opinion, making this so hard to people, especially those who spend the most money, is a little bit unbalanced. And a fun fact, so I personally don't care at all with our own software that is commercial there in Exact Scan and OCR Kit, so maybe please don't go and crack it and pirate it. But we, for example, don't write the sites. A decade ago, some colleagues of mine and partners we founded the company with did this, but eventually said, you know what, this most likely costs zero sales, and even if people download it somewhere and later realize this wasn't a licensed copy or something doesn't work or something eventually they can come back to us anyway. And then if some student copies it because he doesn't have money, then whatever, maybe he buys exact scans and some years later, don't have a problem with this. This is also the thing I made the other stream earlier with this notarized App Store stuff. I rather spend our time and resources on developing good software than making activation and transferring licenses harder, which we also were quite liberal with. And that's probably a good advice, at least, well, from our side. And again, all the time you spend on writing, filling DMCI, Digital Millennium Copyright Act claims on those websites is time you don't have for your customers and products, and most likely, depending, of course, if it's something totally overpriced like Adobe Photoshop or Lightroom or Premiere, although I have no idea how the piracy scene is there, although maybe this Adobe Cloud stuff with cloud subscriptions has this under control, but anyway, something like that. Yes, and watch heart rate. In my opinion, this heart rate sensor stuff is also already quite discussed already. Nothing much new here. It's, emergency C-section, what they have their stories, emergency C-section following an elevated heart rate notification. Yeah, I mean, somehow people have survived for thousands of years and now they need an Apple Watch. Most likely it will make a dedicated video about this anyway. But of course, everything is always truly inspiring. And I certainly, for the most part, although so I don't have an Apple Watch and I don't want one, I purchased on discount, a huge discount, when the Moto 360, when it was deprecated, for less than 50% just to test it out. And I nearly never used it for the reason that I already knew I don't really need one, and I don't want another device that vibrates the whole day about each Twitter and Instagram and YouTube comment notification. I want to concentrate on my work and not have a vibrating, beeping watch there and another device that I only need to charge, spend my money on. Don't need this at all. Women's health study, okay, whatever. Because they always make some stories up. I mean, instead of showing some amazing products, they have some life stories, soap opera stuff there, innovation, watch series 5, this display is always, what, the display is always on? Wait a second. Okay, that maybe, that's the first time time and complications on the lower brightness. Interesting, I wonder how again, the battery life was already only 1 day. I really don't need a device that I need to charge every day. I'm not even charging the Samsung Galaxy S10 regularly, only nearly every 2 days. Like usually in the office, on the second day it runs out of batteries, and rather have something like this and charging each and everything. So this is actually surprised. I wonder if it's still, probably this was this LCD or OLED, but yeah, whatever. Low temperature oxide display, LTPO, low temperature polysilicon oxide. Interesting stuff. Dynamic refresh rate up down to 1 Hertz. It's certainly, so at least the display is somewhat innovative, but anyway, don't really need this. Also, I mean, fun fact, I'm this generation, I don't know how, when I had a normal watch back in the day, I was more than happy when we had a cell phone and didn't have to run around with the watch anymore. And now these lifestyle companies need to sell us a new watch again. It's hilarious. Comments in the audience as user security, probably with privacy. If this is user security with, if this is related to the privacy and not, I think you meant what? Privacy. Sorry, that is interesting. I overread this. Privacy. Want to buy an Android device because they are cheaper and roughly the same spec, but it feels like you opt in for Google. Yeah, so I don't really use this, but fun fact, I'm really torn between, maybe it's a little bit visible on the YouTube videos, that I'm a little bit torn between what exactly to make next. By the way, I wanted to make this for some days already. I broke the Samsung. But dedicated video, I wanted to make a dedicated video. It's probably not as visible. There probably a little bit. Somewhere you get the idea, not the most. Fun fact. So for that crack, I only tell you this because you say Android, but I mostly don't really use this Google stuff much. Also not Google email, and you can of course try to use this Google stuff as little as possible. I would certainly not use the Google Mail app probably. You never know where they copy the stuff to, but this is what I mean with other features. I'm really a little bit torn between creating like a custom Android version or something, not only for myself, but also as maybe a product. Also, I would rather make a microkernel, a much more secure system, but with this, it's next to impossible to earn money unless I get some cooperation with Huawei, which certainly we won't because we're an unsuccessful one-man distribution and company and stuff, and not like Telekom or something, German Telekom or French or whatever. I only show you, so this is what I'm a little bit, otherwise I would be tempted, but the problem is that the open source is always so disgusting, chaotic. So I'm very much aware that if I sit down now and make a custom Android build, of which of course already some exist, but with my T2 Linux stuff, certainly that would be some matching theme. I easily sit a week or whatever to just set up building custom Android stuff. But with the crick, so I only tell you because, yeah, this is also why I'm not a fan of glass backs, totally unnecessary. And but anyway, I'm not as pissed. So it fell a few times off the table because of the slippery glass stuff. But this is not how it broke. It usually fell on wooden floor in Berlin, though. 30 centimeter or something from the night desk and stuff. This most likely broke in my pocket as a data point with keys. Usually, it broke though not using a case. But anyway, somehow I know makes the content of the other video. Because usually I have the phone on one pocket in the jeans and the other with keys that work quite well until one day this week or last week, where I accidentally put it with the keys, bowed down to tie my shoe, and then I took it out and it was cracked. So most likely I pressed it in my jeans pocket on a metal key, unfortunately. So yeah, there you have it, but more to come on this front. But I'm actually not too pissed because it was dirt cheap. Well, not so dirt cheap, but relatively cheapish. Also, I will most likely use it like this. I could put a case over, but whatever. I will maybe use it until it falls apart. I don't know, maybe then the only drawback, I said this with the Samsung video already, that this is glued, so repairing this would mean hot airing this off, and I can only be lucky that it wasn't the display, and the display, however, so this putting this always in the pocket, but this is not the display, don't be frightened. This is still the original free screen protector, which certainly is not amazing. So it's not tempered glass, it's some plastic, and now it's full with cracks already, very much visible. But again, the protector was for free and whatever, and I would actually be curious how well the tempered glass holds here when I take the protector off sometime soon. Now a little bit excursion because someone. So I had several Sony Android devices, coins in the audience, great hardware, however, got really disappointed with Z5 Compact. Yeah, actually Z5 Compact looked quite neat. I actually considered buying this, something like that. And ship security updates. Meanwhile, Apple ships updates for iPhone 6 or even 5, maybe, yeah. That is somehow true. So for the Samsung Galaxy S10, I got more updates of Android, although I didn't really notice any improvements much, but I got more updates than from iPhone. If this is a good thing, I don't know. But this is why, I mean, for real fighting plant obsolescence and having our own system, I'm considering this. The only thing is, and I think I made a video that it's really annoying that all the hardware is so different. It would be really amazing if we could more like Windows XP or Linux or something, just install any OS on any phone. This is what I meant with this iPad in this locked ecosystem. And I wish it would be more like, this is what I also criticize in Linux, that the drivers are only for this one kernel, and binary only drivers are total pain in the ass and total garbage. And this is why I'm more considering microkernel with user space drivers. So let's see. So this Apple Watch, they have an amazing innovative display. That looks quite, but anyway, not really a fan. Leave me in the comments below, are you a fan of smartwatches? I only can see this if you're really doing lots of sports and do really running or whatever, then maybe, but otherwise for daily work in the office or something, find it totally worth of total waste of time and money, actually both time and money, because you constantly look on this and you multitask and forget your stuff and lose concentration. And this is also sad in my opinion. So it's a gimmick. For the most part, it's a gimmick. But tell me, are you amazed and use smartwatches, or is it a gimmick and just Apple maximizing their profit there? It's built-in compass, amazing stuff. 2019 built-in compass, emergency, yeah. Emergency, some of those features, emergency SOS now includes international emergency calling on every cellular watch. Say, yeah, but it's such a low-hanging fruit, like seriously, you need a new major keynote release thing for such international emergency calling, but yeah, whatever. This, yeah. And also they make it here so that it's so important, right? It's like, yeah, sometimes people unfortunately had some issues somewhere, but it's also mostly people are with people, people are surrounded by people. It's not like you will not survive without an Apple Watch. Apple always makes it sound like you need this to survive, but the reality is, as I said earlier, people survived on Earth for 10,000 of years. So stainless steel, gold, space black, polish, whatever, yeah, some color stuff, you name it. Ceramic as well in white, yeah, whatever. Hermes model is black with space black or something, yeah, just some fashion accessories. GPS silver order starting today, available 20, series 3 sticking around. It's cheap entry level crap for people to look good probably, and something which tells, yeah, the new video showing what the things the watch can do. It tells the time. Yes, it tells the time in 2019. And well, okay, some can tell the time among some other things. Amazing stuff. Yeah, it's really sad that for this start of a stream, my other channel got copyright strike. Last year they launched iPhones here, no shit Sherlock, combined, yada yada. So next generation, a number of colors, and yeah, this is also, people ask for this so long. You see, for decades, and I think that probably was only, except the product red, only the polycarbonate iPhone, which I actually quite liked. I didn't have this, but I actually wanted to buy it because I quite liked this iPhone C. That was there. I actually wanted to buy the like CS or something, and then they cancelled it. Also for like not breaking glass, and I really like this plastic stuff, and also some color, and maybe, not sure, one thing had this loop, actually this loop thing. I'm not sure if it was the iPhone C or some iPod Touch. One had this loop button thing that was pretty cool, that you can put some loop threads there. If, for example, if you're more active, that was actually quite interesting. But there you see the interesting stuff, like some loop thing they don't do there. Anodized aluminum and glass design, toughest glass ever. Yeah, hopefully more tough than this though, but whatever. But again, it's a little bit unnecessary, right? It's people, it's like basically they just do it so people break it and they need to repair it expensively at Apple authorized service providers, and it doesn't even feel that, well, I don't really need this anyway. I said this before, still have an iPhone here, this old whatever 6S or 7S or whatever, probably 6S. I liked this 4 or what this was with the flat stainless steel the most, but you know, whatever. Also, in my opinion, really one of Apple's problems, they could certainly sell more if they would not sell the same design for so long. And people don't even recognize anymore if they have the latest iPhone. It's certainly where people don't buy it. It costs so much money, and then it's not necessary to stand out there among your friends because nobody realizes this anyway. So here are some colors. Still a notch. Yeah, the notch, by the way, is super ugly. Totally not a fan. This punch hole thing here is so much more amazing. Mostly you don't even realize it much, especially in videos. If you're here on some YouTube channel like mine, hello, can you also load? Maybe. And for the most part, especially if you have it somewhere, there's usually something somewhere, and yeah, it's not even the most noticeable there anyway. Actually, no, we have quite some drop frames, so interesting. Now it settled down. Yeah, so the notch, not the punch hole. I find this pretty cool. It's like an old-fashioned TV station where we have some more drop frames. I have the feeling the stream is breaking off here. Huh?
I really love taking pictures. Working.
Retuned out, I think, for failing stream. Anyway, it's not the most amazing event anyway. Not really sure. Probably shouldn't do this in the future anyway. Probably you see it's not really much. So they have a new camera, ultra wide, whatever. Optical zoom out, immersive camera. Well, I have this already on the Galaxy S10, not really sure how much better this is. And night mode with very low light environment, so probably the Google Pixel was previously better on this, but whatever. 36 brighter true tone flash, so yeah, just some, but you see it's just the same stuff, just a little bit better camera, just a little bit better flash. And yeah, new chip, A13 Bionic chip. Certainly one of the more outstanding stuff, as similar to our amazing drop frames. And due to whatever, we get those today. And this is the fastest CPU ever in a smartphone. Yes, it could very well be. That is Apple's, so what I miss, everything worth caring about, or some old, same old. Yeah, same old. This was my summary from the very beginning, just the same stuff, slightly faster, better camera, better flash, CPU, GPU a little bit faster. Of course, this mobile stuff looks PS3-like in the meantime, and yeah, a little bit more battery life, 1 hour, but yeah, in my opinion, this is too short, right? You have an international flight, or even in Europe, you have a meeting flight to, yeah, mini discs here also, amazing stuff. And in my opinion, the battery life, not amazing, because also somehow we have here quite some. Why do we have so many drop frames? Worked better the last days. Oh, this is, can't change this. Last nearly 2 days, especially if you do not play too much with it. And if you have a flight even in Europe, it might be enough you get up early, have a flight, sit at the airport and stuff, and in the airport and whatnot, and then you land somewhere, you have some getting around and so on, and then you arrive at the hotel and your iPhone is already dead. Not a fan of that anymore. And this is also really a recurring theme, not only certainly with iPhones, also with ThinkPads. Do not make them too thin. Sometimes a millimeter more is much more. And yeah, also, yeah, Apple is losing a little bit their shit, right? They now have Pro and Pro Max, which is hilarious. Also this huge camera. I never was a fan of this old camera bump, which was already slightly ugly enough in my opinion here. But yeah, also, yeah, if you have a new case, it looks also hilarious with the wrong cutout, but whatever. And yeah, this was decent, not too much, but yeah, I mean, this is okay-ish. But but yeah, it's also getting a little bit too much, right? I don't really quite desperately having to press a better camera in there. And yeah, first phone they've called Pro just because they run out of names, and they had a hilarious name set up there previously, and it's, you know, Apple is really becoming the Apple of the 90s again, with so many models, even with iPhones Pro, Pro Max, and XR, or is it still XR? I don't even, or just 11, or maybe it's not just 11. Yeah, so maybe they get away with the XR now stuff, I guess, probably confusing stuff. It looks a little bit much, to be honest. You run around with such a huge monster of a lens set up there. Not really sure if that is the most necessary, but and again, if you can't even like professionally live stream from this, right? So for this I need to carry something like, for example, the Micro Four Third here with me anyway, and so you can't like professionally, I couldn't even run this unprofessional hobby IT news show because I can't have a browser for live streaming. So I mean, this is again not even on an iPad or this, you can't do shit, right? Not having a browser open, not even live streaming. Well, you can live stream something, but certainly not in sharing your screen and just that format with some, well, certainly theoretically you could create an app for that, but then you would still have browser, and yeah, I don't buy this stuff anymore. The iPads I had for testing in the company I never used much because I'm too much of a creator. Somehow today the by the way, is the audio at least constant, because we have a little bit too many drop frames today. OLED panel, yeah. I actually wonder, does someone still have like long-term, like 1-2 years, something? How old are the first OLED screens getting? I wonder a little bit how much burn-in they will have here. Spatial audio sound, HDR10, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, but honestly, you really don't need this, right? So my old iPhone is so old, it has a mono speaker that really isn't that cool. The stereo speaker from the Galaxy S10 is a huge step up, and I wouldn't go back. And stereo is, of course, distance of stereo, a little bit overhyped, but the sound is so much fuller watching my own YouTube videos and stuff like that, that even if the distance for audio, for stereo tracking here is not the largest, the sound is so much fuller, obviously, with two speakers, even stereo, whatever, but much fuller. The other stuff, it's not a cinema, right? So the same goes, by the way, for the people like Unbox Therapy criticizing the audio. Yes, the audio of some ThinkPads was not the most amazing, but heck, whatever. If I want to listen to amazing audio, I have some headset for that here, and then I rather have here some good old headphone jack stuff with perfect audio. And also the new X1 Carbon has speakers on the top. Not really sure how this is on the ThinkPad X1 Carbon thing there with water resistance, but I would rather have, wouldn't like miss that on the X1 Carbon or stuff. I would rather have Ethernet jack, that I can, a full Ethernet jack and water protected speakers on the bottom, even if they sound slightly less amazing. So what you hear the system sounds, you hear some YouTube video, and if you want to really enjoy something, then here's a solution for that. Everyone has it anyway, more than one already probably. So yeah, machine learning, this I really wanted to comment here. So it is a little bit hilarious that nowadays on those battery power efficient devices we have there this machine learning controller stuff, and this is really getting a little bit out of hand in my opinion, because it's not like flexible programmable, right? And I should probably, this was the wrong focus. Thankfully that was only there, not that I mess OBS up. And because, so the thing is also neural network, so this is like secret source, and this is getting a little bit silly, right? That also, how should universities do research when they they know something, but the same with, I have the feeling also with GPUs, graphic video processor, 3D stuff. There is not so much university research, or at least also open source implementation, except Intel and AMD or some others. But even there, I don't find the separation in kernel module, libdrm, Mesa and stuff the most amazing, especially not to programming. And yeah, how should people do development and research if they can't use this stuff, for example? But neural network processor, most likely just some very huge array, I would guess, of this simulating neural networks there with this many layers of values there and weighted values, and just very quickly multiplying them through. So basically like 16-bit floating point, like Intel's bfloat 16 or something. And this is really many logic gates like wasted for this, right? Do you need this most of the time? This is used for some maybe Siri, but also photo processing. In my opinion, total waste of logic gates. I think we would be better off, I said this before, if we would have this more flexible programmable like DSPs, digital signal processors, makes this 2000, or even if you make this not only 2048 but like 32,600 whatsoever, or even 64K or something. So 32, 64K, I have no idea how many they have in there, or even but anyway, because those AI stuff most of the time is not even used, and I'm not really sure if that is the best development for the future, that we get this kind of fixed functions there, and doesn't sound as sexy. Yeah, I mean, this neural network comments audience DSP doesn't sound as sexy. Well, you can still make that, call this AI accelerator, maybe even sounds more amazing. And certainly this is highly optimized and can run that very fast. Some massive single instruction multiple data, like very parallel kind of like Cell or Intel Larabe kind of, just like very downsized for 16-bit float or something. At least it would be an option. And this is also the path of desktop processing, right? Desktop server processing. Of course, Intel has now some SKUs with FPGA, by the way, in case you didn't know. But somehow this is getting more close and more close, right? Imagine the PC in the 80s would have been as close, like with secret black boxes, yet you couldn't program that. It would have failed like maybe, I don't know, an Amiga or something. We have comments in the audience. That was the most underwhelming keynote in years, yeah, something like that. Thanks for your comment. I have a Knox VM Android beside me all the time, and I've used it for all 15 clients calls last month. It's mostly a distraction. What? I have this Knox VM Android beside me at all times. I've used it at all of 5 to 20 client calls last month. It's mostly a distraction. What is Knox VM? Wife has 2 phones for work. Still never use this most of the time. Just updates and emergencies. Here they are pushing A for shareholders. Almost no real use, however, sounds cool. Yeah. Let's just Google whatever that other thing is. Knox VM, Knox Android emulator for PCs. What do you do with this? So, next to you, is it to read emails? Okay. So, yeah, so this stuff, certainly impressive, but there you also, certainly it is not yet at Intel Core i9 territory levels, but they are certainly advancing there. However, I would estimate, so Apple is also cooking only with water. We have in Germany the saying, they are also only cooking with water. Not sure if that is or translates to English too well, but certainly Apple is right. And certainly we saw a bigger explosion in performance. They also purchased PA Semi, right? The company, the startup a decade ago that did power efficient power PC, and they use this for their ARM division, and I don't think they can advance this speed up. So how much faster was this? So apparently, so this the Pro lasts 4 hours longer than XS, and Pro lasts 5 hours longer than XS. Most efficient chip to date, 1,813,000. Where would it be? What did I even wanted to look up? Going deeper. No power design, really fast machine learning, and so 7 nanometer, probably TSMC or something, right? 8.5 billion transistors. This is why I had here this Ryzen. So this is twice the transistors of a Ryzen 10 or 10 plus, 4.8 billions per 8 cores. And of course the iPhone also has a GPU, and the neural engine, also the neural engine is having the least, if this, although it may not be accurate there in the dimensions in the die area, but if this is true, well, certainly this is just some hundred thousands of multiplying nodes there in this neural network, hidden layer stuff. But anyway, I would, and maybe it can be clock gated mostly off if you're not using it, certainly for best power efficiency. But anyway, I'm not really feeling like this is the very best development for IT. And then you have fast charging 18 watts adapter in the box. Yeah, guess what? My last year's, or actually this year's Samsung Galaxy 10 has, right, a little bit late to the party, I would say. And yeah, you know, USB-C, probably not, because accessories, they need your cache, man. Don't send blanket, just send your cache. 12 megapixel wide with f1.9 aperture, f2 ultra wide. Yeah, I mean, yeah, good camera, but I mean, certainly this is expensive stuff. It has, however, here some signal processing stuff here, and this is a little bit what I don't like. I would, even when I do photography or videography, I would rather have the raw image and not some bionic kind of image processing system, deep fusion, like, yeah, not really what this is, pixel matching there, but I don't know. I would rather, well, certainly it blends there something, but maybe, I mean, there are also really amazing stuff, right? You can even fake some details with deep learning, right? So you can train deep learning on all kinds of natural patterns and even have your neural processor stuff with deep learning interpolates there, that this interpolation looks like more real. There are all kind of fancy stuff. Yeah, dongles, yeah, and stuff. And yeah, this is also, I will never, so I didn't even travel with this 19 watt or 18 watt charger for this USB-C. And I charge this here with a ThinkPad charger, although I'm a little bit sad. The other ThinkPad, the smaller entry-level one, the L390 or what this was, a review video somewhere down there, that Lenovo randomly sent to us for taking a look at, really appreciate it. That was cool, that the L390 was, not sure if it was a bug or a feature, but that ThinkPad was charging with this 18 watts or so Samsung USB charger. And here, this is a 65 watts ThinkPad charger. I don't have the Sun keyword with me, but you get the idea. And I really like to travel with the least stuff possible. So yeah, fast charging your Samsung Galaxy S10 with your ThinkPad charger, no worries. And I don't even, yeah, this charger is larger, but whatever. And yeah, fast charging, can't make this up. Fast charging, actually also best in the, do we have this fast charging in, also this focuses of course on me, because why not? Yeah, fast charging in 1 hour from 19% on a 65 watt ThinkPad charger here. But yeah, of course the ThinkPad charger is not the smallest, but if I need it already anyway, then of course I leave the other charger at home. The only problem is I need to travel with a Micro Four Thirds camera, because YouTube live streaming. But in general, if I wanted to order some ultra compact Anker, gallium, whatever, this new hyper efficient ultra compact charger thing there, and that unfortunately only is 45 watts or something, but it's constantly out of stock. So the one SKU of this Anker gallium, whatever that stuff was, GANL or CL, whatever. The one SKU they only sell in the States, unfortunately. So in Europe, I can only order a not as amazing SKU of this Anker charger, and that is constantly out of stock. So, and then you really have, although 45 watts is of course not perfect for the ThinkPad, but better than it's much smaller because this power brick is a little bit large, as I pointed out, but whatever. And yeah, I totally, so this is on top of headphone jack that we still, yes, it's beating the dead cow here, but whatever, I still like it, pry it out of my cold dead hands, but I will not, the only reason I would buy the Apple AirPods is to actually test the audio quality, and with my Linux, my unsuccessful one-man Linux distribution, the AAC codec, because I have the only professional Sennheiser Bluetooth big headphone that I only use at home has only aptX and no AAC codec. But yeah, maybe anyway. But yeah, the problem with the AirPods is also they sound too crappy. People who have them told me they sound nearly identical, maybe only a very tiny tad better than the Wired pods, and what is the name even? Apple pods, I don't know. iPods, pods, I don't know, whatever, so the wired ones. And I don't buy 180 something euro or dollar AirPods if they sound identical to 20 something euro SKUs anyway. It's unsurprisingly gorgeous, whatever, inconsistent image capture across all three cameras, and yeah, not really. It looks a little bit hefty, right? I mean, this is also a little bit silly that people who, I don't know, it looks a little bit much, but whatever. And yeah, not really sure if, yeah, but okay, they have an entry-level phone with less cameras, but not really sure if everyone who buys the more expensive SKU here, the Pro Max something, really needs all those lenses, but yeah, whatever. And again, if you are professional in anything of whatsoever, then you have probably even I, for my unsuccessful channel, I have a more professional camera here. Anyway, and allows to shoot with multiple cameras at the same time, twice as much coverage, same take, even combine front-facing and rear-facing, putting the audience in the middle of the conversation with two people. What the heck? Okay, whatever. Not really. Yeah, it looks a little bit, I mean, if you take a look on this, a new design video showing, yeah, oops, that was again wrong focus, so much maybe I should have here. In my opinion, this looks a little bit unclean. It looks like they didn't have the designer and just have thrown that onto there, but whatever. And Face ID works from greater angles and is faster here, whatever. Starts at, yeah, I mean, it's still expensive. Also, in Europe, they ripped us off quite a bit, and certainly they will still do so. In Europe, they overcharged us more than 15%. I made a blog post already 3 years ago or something, and so this would be in euro 999, even with German VAT of 19%, but for sure they have higher euro prices they usually had the last year. So the last years we paid more than 15% more on top of this high premium prices, and this is something on top of all the other not amazing stuff, something that even when I can afford it, I wouldn't want to enrich Tim Apple that much more unnecessary for stuff that doesn't even have a headphone jack or USB-C. Apple retail, something different ways. Also, I heard people becoming increasingly unhappy with the Apple stores, like full with random chaos, and yeah, Apple trade-in, you can use your current iPhone as credit towards a new phone. Yeah, of course they sell so much less because people are not as amazed. But again, so where are the big innovations? It's like totally, I don't know, I'm not the innovator, right? Totally top-notch artificial reality, or I don't know, folding phone. Do you want a folding phone? It's, again, if I would have this flexible with Linux, maybe some folding stuff would not be too bad to fold it open and have like a real amazing secure shell connection. But then certainly most people wouldn't want to use a secure shell SSH connection there. But for that it's actually not too bad, right? But also for most people, but it's of course hilarious. Apple made this thinner and thinner, and then the folding phone is twice as thick, but whatever. And yeah, newly expanded public plaza with whatever, don't care. And Tim Apple is back, exciting morning. Yeah, not really, probably only for his wallet. But yeah, that's it. And yeah, it's like the business as usual, nothing really new. Same boring old stuff anyway. Not really much to see. Yeah. It's also funny, the naming inconsistency, right? Before they had XS and XR, now they have 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, and just 11 or something. And before they had iPhone X, now they have 11, when I think Apple wanted it pronounced 10 and most people said X, or the other way around, I don't know. But yeah, hilarious marketing fails that probably... what would you think about a 1.5-year release cycle? Yeah, actually, I think this would probably better also. It's actually a good idea. Actually, I was thinking before I make this live stream, what would I recommend? But I would actually, I wanted to say 1 year release cycle is too fast. And then I thought, yeah, but innovation and competition is moving fast and iPhones are already too boring. But maybe you are right, that is maybe a good idea. Because my feeling is also really that, I mean, basically, if I would take the cover off for the most part, I mean, most people would not even realize much that this is not the latest iPhone, I guess, like sort of, kind of, or whatsoever, something. But because most people, this is a status symbol. And I heard this so often from friends and family, but I need an iPhone. It's like why? Yeah, if I have an Android phone, it looks cheap, or it looks like I have no money, or I'm unemployed, or it's hilarious. I couldn't care less than even, at least it matches the theme here, my broken, no since last week broken Android matches my unsuccessful one-man Linux distribution. I have no problem with that. And yeah, 1.5 year release cycle, maybe that would be one step to the solution here. And I would definitely, I think it always have been Apple's biggest mistake that, in my opinion, they made every second model just a little bit faster, a little bit better camera. The S model, people, especially those people who only had an iPhone to look good to the friends and family, didn't need every second iPhone because it basically looked the same. And the same with Macs, right? All the Macs look the same. And then I never liked the aluminum look, and then you need to eat this stuff because you don't have another choice. I mean, fun fact, the black polycarbonate Mac that I might not yet have shown too much on YouTube, that actually looks a little bit like a ThinkPad, right? And the black polycarbonate MacBook I purchased new just because I didn't want a aluminum MacBook back in the day, 15 years ago. And yeah, you don't have such choices anymore. And maybe I really like the plastic stuff. Maybe this iPhone, whatever C version there was, would be also a good choice. And yeah, maybe even with a special edition with headphone jack for those people who don't want to die yet here, like myself. And yeah, and let's see here, Europe, pretty steep, though probably all reason. Buy another what? Good as wired AirPods work with Arch. You mean Arch Linux or AirPods work with Arch, fine. Well, the AirPods probably can do multiple codecs. If you mean Arch Linux, then you're probably running them with, did you ever check the codec? Because until recently, if you didn't make special preparations, you were probably running this small bandwidth Bluetooth codec stuff that wasn't amazing. And they probably at least can do AAC. Not sure if Arch has support for this out of the box, but maybe. And AirPods work with they're about as good as wired. Yeah, but that is a thing, right? You have the AirPods, right? As good as wired is for me not really a reason to purchase them for nearly 4 times, at least 3 to 4 times the price. And then they are recycling material because in 2 years, because the battery, after using them quite a bit for 2 years, I made a video, not amazing stuff. The Sennheiser Momentum True Wireless were quite promising, but I made a video about this. I only tested them in the store, not personally, because the Amazon reviews were just too bad, like discharging and not good microphone quality. And also in the store, they told me the battery might be swappable. I even called them. I mentioned this in the other live stream with the Sennheiser True Wireless Momentum stuff. I even called them 2 times or so, and then the second time someone told me, no, the battery is not swappable. That is really, and the Sennheiser True Wireless are more expensive, $100 or slightly more than 100, 299 if you don't get them on sale somewhere. And this, I also really need to shout out that they would be so amazing, this Sennheiser, if they would work amazing and the battery would be swappable. They would have a killer product. Maybe I need to stop there at the management at Sennheiser some other day and have a chat with them. So yeah, I was thinking about it, and technical it would make sense, but maybe a 1.5 year release cycle would also make sense financially if they would sell more. Maybe they would sell more if after 1.5 years the iPhone would be more substantially more amazing and usually not have the same case design. Maybe they would sell just much more, especially people do not buy the iPhone at the end of the 1 year release cycle as much at the full price anyway. So maybe if you do this clever, you could maybe even potentially make this sell better. 3 year cycle I'd be okay with 3 year for desktop, 1 for laptop, 1. What? I'd be okay with 3 year cycle, 1 for desktop, 1 for laptop, 1 for... okay, you mean... yeah, but I think 3 years is too long for an iPhone. If you then the competition, well, although the Apple CPU is mighty fast, but then again, most people don't buy a phone for a fast CPU. And honestly, the iPhone, I still use the old iPhone, of course, for some stuff, and it is still okay, right? Even though it's now really many years old, it's still fast enough for reading emails and even watching YouTube. So, and I will use this. Actually, right now I have the firmware that is unlockable, but I wonder if I ever get Linux onto there. But this is really a problem. So you could theoretically use this for 10 years to come. Just you don't get software updates. It would be really cool, like I said earlier, and in the dedicated video, if you could really install another OS like Android or Linux, whatever. I really so would like, so if like there would be basic income and I would not need to do any other work, I would so like sit down and write a microkernel, most minimal, like graphical, nice looking CQOS running on desktop and smartphone, but yeah, somehow need to pay some rent. Whole thing about green messages being bad or... Yeah, so I think 3 years for a phone is certainly too long, but 1.5 years could probably work out. And I hear you on aluminium, prefer ceramic. What I hear you on the aluminium, I prefer ceramic. What you mean? What do you mean ceramic? Was there also a Samsung? You mean, or you mean the? What do you mean with ceramic? Ceramic, which do they have ceramic somewhere? Or you mean the watch? Don't work out for. They don't work out of the box. Arch, yeah. Amazing stuff. Thanks for tuning in. Not the most amazing stream, but just wanted to try how that works out. Certainly not with one of the most amazing. I mean, it's also by innovation only. Like seriously, where was the innovation? It's like not really much. Like it's also. It sounds a little bit like by invitation only, so it's a little bit interesting play with words. But it's for me, as we did Mac products, it's really, I don't even really like wish Apple this. I really wish they would make a Mac that I would buy, but even the Macs I can't buy. I even because I was pissed that Android took our embedded Linux projects away. And the iPhones were actually really good. I was even on every second iPhone, right? I have every second iPhone plus a couple of more that sometimes were not mine. I have even in collector stock, right? And I'm an old-fashioned, call me old-fashioned, with headphone jack and USB-C really seriously nowadays. And yeah, I don't know. And also, but somehow, by the way, there is not really, was there, did I miss, but maybe the iOS they already showed probably at the WWDC, right? But even there, not the greatest, most amazing. What, ceramic in German? What you're even? Like floor tiles and such. What? Great stream as always. Yeah, welcome, thanks for watching. I tried to different things, see what sticks. Obviously, incremental upgrades for iOS at best, and ceramic in German. What do you mean with? By the way, for the floor tiling, I don't like ceramic very much. I have it here right now, not the greatest fan. In Berlin, we have wood, which I quite like. Wood, it's more warm in the winter because we have cold winters there. And if something drops, like even my glasses from the night desk, or even the bloody Samsung, if we would have ceramic tiles, if this phone, because this phone is so slippery, the Samsung Galaxy S10, it is so slippery, it slipped probably 4 or 5 times from my night desk. Even so, fun fact, I think the very first day it slipped from my night desk. I had a book there, I put it on the book page maybe like on a 1 degree angle, and then while I was turning around it slipped off the book. So yeah, first day the Samsung Galaxy S10. But so if you have tiles and everything, it's colder in the winter on the feet, and everything that falls down usually breaks instantly. So yeah, tiles for the bathroom, but the rest of the living room. But for phones, so I'm actually not sure, was there a Samsung ceramic something edition, or what was there? Phone, which thing was ceramic? S10 Plus double, S10, was it only the Plus thing? Yeah, maybe the E didn't have this, right? Only the Plus. Should I buy Glass or S? Probably, but that is a little bit strange. So I would have liked to try this out, but I like the smaller one. This is only the S10e, not because I can't afford more, but just because I don't want a larger one. And what is interesting or strange is that in Germany I couldn't really. So this is a smaller one. Too many cables here. So much to having wires. Do we even still have audio? I hope. What is really strange with Samsung is they advertise the larger capacity one, but I could never buy it. So whatever that is, 6428, I don't know, the smaller. Actually could maybe... whatever, doesn't matter. But so the larger capacity one, somehow, or they just don't sell it on Amazon and only on their store and not on discount or something. I don't know, it's a little bit strange. Anyway, yeah, that's it for today. Hope you learned something, not the most amazing stuff. And somehow, yeah, maybe the next thing, what are the next big thing? But in one way, the iPhone, as much as you can call it innovation, or this is of course a Samsung, but whatever, the Samsung was a huge step. But I was on, when the iPhone came out, I was on a Sony M600i or whatever that was, this touch screen with Symbian, or what was it called? Something that could already do email, it could do crappy web, but whatever, it mostly email was already pretty good. And what was next innovation? I bet from that point, the iPhone made a lot of stuff better, but well, there have been internet-enabled, email-capable smartphones, right? And the Sony M600i wasn't too bad. And there also this LG Prada stuff that was quite similar, that came out in a similar time frame, probably, I guess. Yeah, what are the big innovations? Folding phone, how do you want projected holographic? I also don't quite know. Actually, the things I would want the most is slightly longer battery life, although the Samsung Galaxy S10 is quite okay. I wouldn't want this stupid ring here around the lens that is on the iPhone, in my opinion, even more annoying. Already slightly scratched, but whatever. And the one thing I would like is more grip. Also from the iPhones, I call this also this rounded aluminum is really annoying. And this is similar here on the Samsung. I really wish they would, I said this so many times, for me the flat stainless steel of the iPhone 4 or whatever was the most optimum, had really good grip. I would say make flat phones again here. In my opinion, this was more amazing. And beside from this, yeah, folding, if it doesn't break for a huge desktop secure shell session, why not? And otherwise, yeah, artificial, was it AR, artificial reality? AR, is it AR? VR, virtual reality, all the artificial stuff already getting into my head. Speaking about getting into my head, no, mostly empty. Maybe virtual reality, but that we all run around in the subway with a huge virtual reality headset, also not really sure though. And can we get plastic rubber back phones? Right, the audience, yeah, this is what I mean with the plastic edition, what I said earlier. So also the second iPhone, the 3G, was the polycarbonate one, was really nice in the hand with this rounded polycarbonate. This is a little bit of a design fail, this rounded rectangle. Maybe Johnny Ive there, his craziness at work, that wasn't amazing, and that everyone had to copy this, and why I personally was considering the polycarbonate colorful iPhone C stuff. And this rubber, however, this rubber material, not the greatest fan, that usually becomes gunky and sticky. Well, at least after a decade. For a couple of years it's probably fine, but I have a few rubber things that become really disgusting, and probably mentioned this somewhere. Yes, 3GS was great. That is what I meant with the 3G. 3GS was the same case. This around the polycarbonate, and that was pretty good. And Xperia 10 Plus is polycarbonate. Yeah, I don't really quite understand the obsession there. This aluminum, although some scratches and dents, just some minimal ones. Yeah, I mostly had the cases that this doesn't become totally scratched. But again, I'm not too much. If this would have been polycarbonate, it wouldn't be broken now, right? It would be a little bit scratched, but whatever. But again, I use this, I make a long-term test for you, but anyway, dedicated video coming for that. Yeah, interesting to hear that some more people like polycarbonate. And yeah, anyway, the big innovation, yeah, maybe like in this movie Her, like some really totally connected artificial assistant might certainly be the next innovation. In my opinion, Siri and all the digital assistants today, by the way, not the most amazing. They are probably mostly like scripted, not really sure, like this, what is it called? Dialogue systems, or so, like with this term and that term. And often it's ignoring most of the terms anyway, right? If you can say some garbage words in between, and it's Siri or so is just locking on the most most important words. And even then, I said this before, Siri is not the most amazing thing. The only thing I use it for is like FaceTime audio my wife, and even then 30% of the time it's calling random people. So how much of a help is it if you tell your Siri FaceTime audio my wife and you need to be there with an emergency button to stop it if it calls some random people? So yeah, not the most impressed. But yeah, probably thinking about this, the biggest innovation to come, probably like full artificial intelligence with assistance similar to in the movie Her. And coming for ceramic versus glass. What incoming link for? Okay. Ceramic versus glass. I prefer ceramic. That is cool, although probably not the S10e, right? I wish Samsung would bring all the features to the smaller one, like ceramic. Unfortunately, if you want a good voice assistant, you give up all your data. Yeah, although this probably, I also called this out. I made in the very beginning of my YouTube, I made vintage videos about VIA voice of 2 decades ago and 1 decade ago, VIA voice and from IBM fame, and this naturally speaking, VIA voice, naturally speaking, what? Dragon dictate something. Was it Dragon naturally speaking? Anyway, that on a Pentium whatever and AMD Athlon XP or something, and this assistant with this amazing neural network would need to have to run on the phone and not in the cloud. In my opinion, we need to get back from putting everything in the cloud where we don't know what's going on, back to your local devices, not only local servers, but also local natural language processing, in my opinion. And yeah, 2013 phones, comments in the audience, work fine in 2019, except that was truly amazed to see the box 1 second input like Google Maps, so it would be an innovation to return to at least certain levels of would work fine, except that I was truly amazed to see a text box with 1 second input like in Google Maps, so it would be an innovation to return what 2000 level. What do you mean? It was slow or not? It's confusing. You should also not forget that back in the day, Google Maps was pretty fast on the first iPhone even, and a lot of stuff became slower over the years, right? So they added features and stuff, and with the framework updates of UI and system and kernel and whatnot, even at Apple's iPhone, stuff became significantly slower. And because I know this very well, that the first iPhone was snappy, this iPhone OS 1 or whatever that was, and then with a couple of updates it became significantly slower. But of course nowadays the very first iPhone only had a Samsung SoC from the shelf, regular stuff, and of course even the very old iPhone stuff is still super snappy, right? So if we zoom here and load here and whatever, so this is, I don't know, 5 years or whatever by now, or even older, so I don't know, something of that sort. So it's not as slow anymore, and this is certainly becoming a problem to the smartphone vendors, that stuff isn't as obsolete anymore as it previously became. Anyway, you wanted to send a link, right? But because I probably really time to end the stream now. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. And one lesson certainly for everyone, but probably most people already delay buying a phone. And again, you probably can do something better with your money than giving it all to Apple and Google. Buy a flat, renovate your apartment, or all the other fun stuff. Buy solar cells, save money and the environment, and other similar fun stuff like this. And yeah, hope to see you soon for the next streams, and I wonder in how many 90 days I can live stream again. It's hilarious that for this crappy live stream my secondary channel got a copyright strike thing there. So yeah, that's it for today.